podcast like a punk. Oh my god. All right, well now I can move my setup.
What can I do for you? Eric, you called me. What can I do for you?
Well, how did I call you? I said punk?
I said, oh my god.
Oh, Jesus. All right. Okay. Let's see. I don't know if we're going to worry about OBS. People in OBS catching up with us. I guess we can send the link out to them. What are you doing? Is that you?
Yeah, I was just checking that we weren't echoing on the Hangouts.
God.
It'd actually be good if we were.
Why? Because so we wouldn't have
to quit.
He just gives up.
Actually, I didn't even mean it that way, but you're right. That would have been awesome. I meant just it wouldn't be a OBS thing.
Yeah, no, it's definitely an OBS thing. And of course, I sat there this afternoon. I'm like, I called Thomas. Huh? Oh yeah. Okay. All right, let's do this. Episode 136, PHB Ugly. We may be down, but we're not out. I'm your host, Eric Van Johnson, and with me, as always, my cackle of cousins from another sister or wherever cousins come from. John Congdon.
I have no clue what you meant by that, but okay.
That makes two of us. Don't worry about it. I have no idea what I'm saying either. Also with me and still fiddling with his mic, despite the fact that we're running 20 minutes late, and he's still messing with his mic, Thomas Rideout.
Hey, how you guys doing?
That was loud.
I hate technology. I'm just putting it out there. I hate technology.
That's because you're no good at it.
This is true. I cannot dispute. All right, so obviously we're back on Hangouts. We try to get, well, not obviously. If you're listening to the podcast, you actually have no idea what's going on. This all sounds the same to you.
You learned last night that you're not supposed to say obviously.
Yes.
What did you do?
We're back on Hangouts. OBS is giving us problems again. We'll try to figure this out moving forward, but for now, we're no cool effects, no layovers or browsers or any of that other stuff. So sorry, I failed you as a human being, and I apologize.
We need to test it on not Thursday.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that was the thing is, I did a bunch of testing today. And I heard the echo thing, and I'm like, dang, I started working through it, and I called Thomas, and I had it fixed with Thomas. It's like if I removed him and added him, I got it fixed, and I realized I'm like, all right, well, I need to get John back on the line so I can remove and add him again. And all day long, I'm thinking that's all I had to do, and of course that didn't work either. So we'll figure it out. I'm sure it's in a forum posted somewhere of, hey, if you do this, don't do that. And I'm sure we did it. So, but we'll get there. I don't think anybody really misses it. It's not like our sponsors are knocking down our door saying, "Hey, where's my ad? Your ad, my ad didn't display." This is
Next
all
week.
Just fun.
Next week they'll start knocking on the door.
Mm-hmm. So, what's everybody been up to? Anything fun?
I went to the doctor.
Yay!
For checkup or something bad?
I was inspired by you to go take care of my heart and in general my body and all those things. So
Thomas, you're going to kill us, Thomas, but I don't think you're talking through your mic.
Yeah.
Is it?
I think that's our problem, John. We just have to drop Thomas from the show, and everything will be fine.
No, I'm talking through my mic.
You need to move it closer to your mouth.
Talking through my mic, is that working?
Better. Way better.
Okay, so
it's that directional mic thing.
Yeah. So I went to my doctor, did my lipid panel and all that good stuff to tell whether or not I was going to have a heart attack, and I'm not going to have a heart attack, so yay. I'm not pre-diabetes either, which is nice.
So,
Nice.
so let me get this straight. Are you saying you're in better shape than the ultimate running John Congdon, the vegan ultimate frisbee chasing John Congdon?
Significantly better. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I'll tell you what, as I sat down and the nurse comes in first, and she was setting a bunch of stuff up for the doctor and said, give me a list of questions to answer and all the history stuff that we were going through. And then she takes off and I'm sitting there waiting for the doctor, and I look over at the stuff she was setting up for the doctor. And I think to myself, why would you only need one rubber glove? And then I look next to the rubber glove and there's a tube of lubricant. And I go, oh, Jesus. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Nobody told me this was going to be a party.
I didn't do my makeup for this or anything. Like, I was not on board. Fortunately, she came back in and said, have you ever had a prostate exam or done the colonoscopy? And I said, you know what? I'm actually waiting to treat myself for my 40th. So we put it off until...
Oh, you whip!
No. The doctor said, I don't need it done until I'm 45. Don't even worry about it. There's nothing to worry about. My panels all look fine, so there's no reason to start putting a finger anywhere.
He looked at you. He's like, I don't want to do this. I'm pretty sure you're okay. I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Well, I got the hernia check, so he wasn't shy.
You probably freaked him out when you grabbed his hand and spat on his fingers.
The last hernia.
Let's do this, doc.
The last hernia check I had. I have a female doctor, and she goes, "Do you want us to check?" And I'm like, "I don't care," but it's because she also had an intern in there with her. I'm like, okay, this is awkward.
Yeah, as a more senior gentleman than you, Thomas, that's one of the things I look for in a doctor now. Small fingers. Somebody who doesn't wear a lot of rings.
Keeps the nails trimmed.
Yeah, exactly.
No cracking the knuckles or anything like that. Just stretching them out now.
Jeez. That's hysterical. You are killing me. You're killing me.
So all your numbers came back normal. That's good.
Yeah, my
cholesterol look good.
Everything's good. Apparently, the blood pressure is supposed to be like 120/80. I was 122/80.
That's great.
So, yeah, it's as a larger man, it's always fun to go in to see a new doctor because they do all the tests and then look at me like, this doesn't match the thing I'm seeing.
The person I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Whose blood did you give us?
Yeah, that's so weird. You went to really Tom Rideout. This is your test. That's strange. All right.
Yeah.
But I'm blessed with great genetics, health-wise. So,
yeah, I am not.
Yeah,
Well, that's good to hear, Thomas. And it's good to hear that you actually went and got checked up. That's important. Yeah.
He asked me why I was doing it, and I said that my wife inspired me to do it. And he said, "Oh, is she nagging you to do it?" And I said, "No, she stopped nagging me to do it," and that was a real warning sign. And next thing is the surprise life insurance bill, and then
that was where I was going. She's upping your life insurance.
Yeah.
That's great.
You talk about genetics. I found out the other day my dad's been in the hospital for a week and a half now. I was like, seriously, I'm supposed to see him next week. We're going on vacation, and we're supposed to see him and his wife and the rest of my family. And now he's not going to make it because of this. It's just
it's not only that. It's like they didn't tell him until basically they had to tell him. It's like we can't hide this anymore.
Yeah. We ended up, we were calling, we're we bought the kids new luggage, so they are super excited about the trip. We're to go to Disney World, and we call Grandma and Grandpa to say, "Hey, we got our luggage. We're excited." And then my stepmom starts talking to me, and I'm like, "Oh, this doesn't sound good." So I'm quickly taking it off speakerphone for her to tell me, all of this bad news. It's like just crazy.
Jeez.
Yeah, but my dad's diabetic. He has heart disease, doesn't take care of himself. So it's just lots of bad there.
I'm sorry, man.
Basically, he's got some issue with his foot, and the doctors basically told him if you go on this trip and even like bump your foot, there's a chance you're gonna lose it.
It's just gonna fall off,
It's just gonna disappear. So.
I had when I was younger, we had a friend of ours, a really good friend, Ron Potter, our third baseman. His mom had an amputated arm. She's had it ever since she was really young, and so I had always known her with her prosthetic arm, and this is back in the early 80s, I guess, late 70s, early 80s. So, the prosthesis was basically just a plastic arm. It's nothing like they are now. And we got to go on a big trip. I don't know why I'm telling you this. You just reminded me of it with that statement. We went to go on a big tournament up in Pennsylvania. And the whole team, we caravan up there, and we all get up there and we're unloading. And, every team had like that younger brother, snotty little brat that hung around us and, drove everybody crazy. And we had one of those on our team. And this kid, he was a young little punk. And my friend's mom, Mrs. Potter, gets out of her car and she's not wearing her prosthesis. And it's, unusual for her not to wear it, but she was traveling, so she wasn't wearing it. And this little kid looks at her and goes, "What happened to your arm?" And she looks at him and she goes, "It's okay. I packed it in the other bag." I love this woman. I love her.
It would have been much better if she just looked at her arm and started screaming. Oh my God.
Oh, all right. So we recorded a Lair Chat live this morning, or not this morning, earlier today. That was fun. We had good. We had Joe Ferguson, J Mac, and TJ Miller all on, and
wow. That's a lineup.
Yeah. And of course, myself and Matt were on. Sean was actually out sick. He pinged me last minute. He goes, "Hey, I'm not going to be able to make it. I'm sick." And it was one of those, "Is it Thursday?" I'm messaging him. I'm like, "Hey, are we doing this?" And he's like, "Wait, is it Thursday?" So he was pretty much out of it. But yeah, we had a good conversation. A lot. Oh, John, you might want to listen to it. A lot of it was talking about Wave PHP.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was cool because we were talking about conferences in general, and they both JMac and TJ and Joe, actually, all three of them were at Wave PHP last year, and so that we kept using that as a sample, as an example of a conference, and it was cool.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. Everybody check it out. Lair Chat Live. Cross promoting, a little cross promoting going on.
You also had a meetup.
We did.
Last night. Yeah. This was our largest turnout in a very long time.
Really?
Yeah.
So it was nice. Lots of new faces, and yeah, it went well. Our first speaker, Trey Hunter, did an excellent talk on mentoring people and just talking a little bit about psychology and how to talk to people when you're mentoring or when you're trying to teach somebody a new skill, how to do it without being an ass, basically. So I was hoping Eric was taking notes. I looked over and he wasn't.
Nope,
no, I was
not a chance.
DNS issues. I had DNS issues I had to resolve. So.
But I love his speaking style. He's so laid back, and he's got a soothing voice. And then our second speaker was horrendous.
He was terrible. We can't have that guy back.
For real. The talk was so disjointed. It was a talk on using immutable objects.
And we really wanted him to be muted. We tried.
Yeah. It was a last minute presentation, and he didn't know subject matter 100% because he didn't take enough time to really look into it. So just listening to him like start down a path and like realize the slide didn't make a whole lot of sense, and then try and rewind it.
Not to mention your coding samples were terrible, John.
Oh yeah, my coding samples could have been better. No, I had other people in the audience that it's example code. It's not like fully flushed out ideas or code samples to be used. He's like, well, how would you even use this? There's no getters or setters. I'm like, I'm showing you the constructor here. I'm not showing you like the entire object. Calm down.
Yeah, I heard that talk sort of fell apart.
Yeah. No, it's out there.
It was funny. We took a survey of what people wanted to hear about, and actually, the talk we're going to be doing next month is an intro to Laravel. People are still very interested in getting introduced to the Laravel framework.
You should say that it's intro to Laravel, and then get up and do a cake PHP talk.
That would be awesome. Why am I the only one laughing?
I didn't understand it, so I just am moving on. We actually had more. The male to female ratio was extremely high. We had 5 women there last night.
Nice.
There were quite awesome. A few. Yeah.
And then I had something else I was going to say there, and Thomas completely threw me off with. Now I remember. 2 guys, first time there. Funny as could be, we were talking afterwards. They're new to coding, using Laravel for whatever application they have. And he's talking to me, and he basically went around a very long way to put data into a database. He had a form, and he ended up calling a constructor, and he was equating a controller with a table, because that's all the examples he saw. So he would call a controller, and then he thought he had to call another controller, but couldn't figure out how to do that. So he ended up using events and like pushing them in.
Wow.
And reading them in and then calling other code. I'm like, no, that's so not the right way to do this.
And he was like, yeah, and then I had to put a bunch of code in my models because I didn't know where to put it.
All right, so he sounds eager. Bring him in to Diego Dev and get him trained up while he's still cheap.
Yeah. Why he doesn't have any real bad practices learned, you know?
Yeah.
Or only bad practices. Just tell him forget everything you've seen so far.
Well, except for it was him and his business partner, and the 2 of them are the only coders on their team, and they are encouraging each other.
You should encourage them to outsource to Diego Dev. I'm doing a presentation in 2 months. I'm doing a presentation in March. There was a scheduling conflict with Peak PHP, and they decided they were going to do this month's presentation at the library that's very close to me, making it really easy for me to just wander on in. Nice. So I convinced Mark to do the same thing every other month. So now I'm going to be hosting March's event, giving a presentation on GraphQL with Lighthouse.
No way!
It's the only thing I could think of in the spur of the moment. So now I need to learn. No, now I need to learn it. And
Eric was going to do that presentation next month, but people railroaded him into Laravel.
Yeah, I was trying to pitch. That's what I was trying to pitch was the GraphQL one, and people are like, "What? No, shut up. We don't want to. What? Get real." And they made me do Laravel. I cried a lot, but I'm okay with it. But GraphQL is awesome. I think we talked about it last week, right?
We did.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said GraphQL is awesome. You guys are going to love this talk.
Now I just got to bamboozle Eric into writing it for me.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to get something ready for next month, I've got no problem with that.
I was going to say maybe I should have prepared that slide for you, and the slides for you I could have given them to you. So
that's what he was just talking about.
Yeah, I realized
having
that.
you do it.
Yeah. No, I'm curious about it. I'm interested in diving into it. So I'm probably going to spin up some sort of test project for myself.
Now, have you been doing much RESTful API stuff?
Actually, recently I have. I've been in Postman quite a bit.
Right.
Not fully RESTful, but definitely JSON-based APIs.
Yeah, I mean, if you've been writing individual API points, then it helps to get an appreciation for what Lighthouse does and what GraphQL does for you, and the difference. That's the only reason I asked. It's not a requirement. It's just if all you do is implement GraphQL, then it just seems like, okay, well, this just seems like how API endpoints work. I don't see what the big deal is. But if you've spent hours writing individual endpoints, you'll understand, oh, I see the benefits here. This is nice.
Yeah. So that was interesting. My meetup this month was what's new in 7.3, and we talked about that last week. I didn't realize how much I skipped over. There's so much change in 7.3 that is just minor changes, but there really is a lot going on there. So that was a great presentation. But one of the points in the presentation was that 5 was at end of life. 5 is dead.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
5.6 was officially not supported as of 11 days ago.
Yep.
So what do I see today? PHP 5.6.4 has been released.
Really?
Wait. What?
Yes.
5.6.4? I mean,
5.6.4.0.
Oh, 4.0. That's a little bit different. Like, they were up in the 30s.
Yes. 5.6.4.0 is, quote, the last scheduled release of the PHP 5.6 branch. There may be additional releases if we discover important security issues that warrant it. Otherwise, this release will be the final one in the PHP 5.6 branch. If your PHP installation is based on PHP 5.6, it may be a good time to start making plans for upgrading to PHP 7.1, 7.2, or 7.3. Maybe time to upgrade.
We've only been telling you this now for 2-3 years.
Yeah, so 5.6.40 is several security bugs, the last of its kind. Don't expect anything more, but also you weren't supposed to expect anything more 11 days ago either, so I guess keep hoping. Yeah, it's very interested in that, and I'm gonna bet that 7.0 doesn't get this treatment of extending security fixes for another 2 years and then doing a security fix even after the extension is expired, and then.
Nah, it's only because 5 was so long in the running.
Yeah,
and it's a major upgrade from 5 to 7. Where going from 7.0 to 7.1 to 7.2 shouldn't be as painful.
Shouldn't be.
Yeah.
In that same vein, though, 7.3.1 did get released today or yesterday. So,
hey, Thomas, I hate to interrupt you again, but
you do love it.
You didn't need to move every time you take your head to the right,
Hey, who's editing this?
That's true.
Right.
What
There
am I
you go.
saying? Right? What do I care? I've already proven that I can't produce a goddamn podcast with OBS. I don't know why I'm talking right now.
Well, while we're in the middle of having the conversation, I'm getting messages from my son, and I'm having problems with my software on my computer. So I'm trying to shuffle 4 things at once while talking.
What
It's
are you
working
doing?
great.
Outstanding job.
So, going back to our meetup last night, I treated
Yes.
Eric to a little dinner beforehand.
You did, yeah.
Yeah, we went to a vegan restaurant.
100% vegan. It was a vegan restaurant. Everything we had was vegan, huh?
Yep,
Yeah.
it was.
Like I said, I'm not a bigot like you are, John. I can always find food. Look at me. I can always find food to eat. It doesn't bother me. I can go. I take going to a vegan restaurant the same like I take going to get Vietnamese or Chinese or Italian. I'm just going to a themed restaurant, and that's
Yeah.
I know my options will be limited.
That poor waiter will never walk the same again, though.
Yeah, we had I tried apparently vegan buffalo wings for the first time. That was a weird experience.
It was.
Those aren't so bad because those aren't tofu. Those
What are they?
It's a plant protein combination. They specifically avoid tofu for chicken wing style foods. If you watch Hot Ones, do you watch Hot Ones?
I love Hot Ones. Did you see Gordon Ramsay's kicking off the new season?
Oh yes, I did.
Oh my god! Yes,
it's going to be good.
Yeah.
But Hot Ones, they do vegan wings quite a bit, and you can look up their vegan wing selection online somewhere, and it's not tofu. It's a plant protein combination of grains and stuff.
It was funny. I was telling my kid. So first thing, I think John nailed it when we were trying them, because John, used to eat a lot of buffalo wings with me. That was kind of our thing. We do buffalo wings, and he pretty much nailed the taste. He's like, it was somewhere between buffalo wings and calamari. Like
it was a texture of calamari with a breading and some sauce.
Yeah. And I was telling my kid, I'm like, had I not known that they were vegan, like if somebody had just brought them to a party, I would have thought that they were just like maybe like lower quality buffalo wings. Like, I mean, they weren't like, I didn't try them and go, oh my God, these are the best wings I've ever had. But I identified them as buffalo wings when I was eating them.
Yeah.
And so, it was palatable. I didn't have an issue with that. I think I had some ramen there, which I feel like, in hindsight, was I kind of bailed out. There were a few things on the menu I wanted to try, and then one of them was the ramen, and the waitress referenced the ramen when I asked for a recommendation, so I went that way. But I felt like I should have tried something else, but I didn't.
I tried their version of a California burrito because I haven't had one in so long, and that was my wife and I had California burritos at least weekly, if not 2 or 3 times a week. It was
and so your heart's going bad, you say?
You're stuffing fries and meat into your gut. Yeah. Nope. It's getting better.
The vegan food stuff, as soon as vegan food tries to act like it's a normal non-vegan version of something, I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's okay
so
if it's...
I've had that same thought. Like, why do you have to mimic the food that's out there? But it's like Eric said, to make it palatable to people that don't know.
But there's good vegan food. Fried eggplant, or there's so many different root vegetables that will take a seasoning really well. If you focus on that, if you focus on seasoning and doing something creative and new, then you don't have to try to sell me a burger with a stick in it that gets stuck in my teeth. You know, I don't want that. I want the cuisine that your brand can produce, not imitate.
I get that.
Well, and I have to give props where props are due. This was like a legit restaurant. I mean, this wasn't like some hippies decided to get together and cook vegan food and open up, some shack somewhere. This was
it can be both.
This was actually, I mean, this was a nice restaurant. I think they had one waiter per table. I mean, there was like,
I think they were training last night.
They might have been training or doing a shift change or something. Because sometimes you come in a shift change, they overlap. But there seemed to be a lot of service people there. But it was good. I mean, I'm not a bigot when it comes to food like John is. He's a foodist, and we're trying to let him see the light of all food should be treated equally. But
now I have to clarify my opinion here. Is despite how refined my opinion sounded, I still order the chicken strips in most restaurants. So my palate is not so refined, but I do watch a lot of cooking shows.
That's been one of the biggest weird things for me is turning on like the Food Network. I used to watch that years ago. I watched it a lot and less lately. And then I make this shift in my eating. It's like, no, I'm not watching that anymore. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
It's not as fun. Don't they have a vegan channel?
I'm sure.
It's like porn, his wife burst in on him in his office. He's watching the Food Network. He's trying to flip real quick.
There's a cow being butchered on screen. Whoa!
Oh, jeez, we're horrible people.
Just why your pants are off, Eric.
I really can't understand why John doesn't invite me over more often. Okay.
I've met his wife. She's very nice. You probably would clash with her.
Nah.
So we're basically out of a job. I don't even know why we're here anymore. I'm not sure if you guys have heard, but the man himself is doing a podcast now. Taylor Otwell has decided to. Yeah, I mean he's done them in the past. They used to have the Laravel podcast, which Taylor would do, and then Matt and Jeffrey Way jumped on board with it. And I mean he'd done it previously, but he'd been radio silent for a year or two as far as like doing any sort of regular podcast. And I guess they recently moved the Laravel blog, which was a little confusing to me, but they moved the Laravel blog to its own service. And if you watch,
how much is it?
If you look at the post about it, it's like, yeah, we're moving the official Laravel blog off of Medium to its own servers to avoid, I guess Medium gets banned in certain countries and there's some costs associated with it and all. But I always thought I thought he had announced years ago that Laravel News was the official Laravel blog. But I guess that's not the case anymore. And so now there's actually a blog at blog.laravel.com, which is obviously the official blog of Laravel. So, and he announced on there that he's going to do very much like Jeffrey Way started doing these Laravel snippets where he did these like little quick 5-10 minute podcasts weekly.
Which I listened to those for a long time until I realized it was essentially observations about programming and lifestyle from me when I was programming 8 or 9 years ago. Like, whereas like I really relate to what he's saying, but then I was like, well, actually, no, I used to relate to what he's saying. I actually don't anymore.
I mean, I appreciate what he was doing, and I'm glad I encourage people to do that. I mean,
absolutely. I'm not the audience anymore for that level of the conversation.
Yeah, that was me. It's like I listened to it for a while, and then it was like, yeah, this really doesn't do anything for me anymore. So,
I think the last one I listened to was about how to motivate yourself, And I was like, I got fucking teenagers. I know exactly how to motivate myself. Have teenagers.
I was gonna listen to that one later, so I don't know. I mean, all right.
So, but Taylor's podcast is gonna be what, 5-10 minutes? I mean,
that's what he says. Yeah,
that's amateur hour. We pushed out 80 minutes last week.
Did we? Was it that long?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, and I mean, you think about it, we've been on this grind for years, right? I mean, episode 136, recording once a week, pretty much, nonstop for 2-3 solid years, right?
I was sure we weren't going to do Christmas. We did Christmas.
We did Christmas this year?
Yeah, we did the Thursday after Christmas.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I believe we skipped out on Thanksgiving, but we're a powerhouse. I mean, we're media influencers, if you ask me.
I'm not sure what
the applause sign is not on for that one.
We're big fucking deals, man.
Yeah, we are. We're big.
I don't know if I go that far. I was messaging somebody today about it. It's like, I completely forget sometimes that we're recording this and broadcasting it. Like,
but see, that's why the intro is so important, because it's always a reminder that I'm listening to you guys, and I will take the best out of context part and put it in the very beginning of the show.
And that's always appreciated. Wait, no, it's not.
Did you hear last week's episode, John?
Yeah.
It opens with you saying, "So I go in the room and there's a big liquidy brown mess on the floor, and I realize, oops, I made a mistake." That was the cold open for last week's episode.
Oh my goodness!
I was really proud of that. I was a little bummed that no one said anything about it.
Well, you just released it yesterday. I mean, it hasn't even made it in its queue for me yet.
I decided that Wednesday is the official release date for the podcast. So no matter when I edit it, it's going to go out on Wednesday around noon.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying that's why I haven't listened to it yet. I usually queue it up pretty quick, but yeah, it's just I had a podcast I was finishing up this morning, and actually, no, and actually that was part of my problem. I had my podcast I finished up yesterday, and this morning I didn't even I didn't walk my dog this morning, so I didn't even listen to podcasts this morning.
So just pooped all over the house.
Oh boy.
I've been working on an interesting problem. We're in a scenario now where we're allowing some people to upload multiple gigabyte files.
Okay.
And then we pass them off to an encoder.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you what, when you're testing something that takes 3 hours to upload one test file, it just progresses so slow. And I literally had a case where after 3 hours of uploading a video, there was a misspelling on a MIME type check that failed the whole thing. It's just one character wrong. Oh my God.
See, you need to go be friends with Spencer, because he's got a fiber connection and it's blazing fast up and down.
Oh.
And he's paying, Eric, I don't know if you've talked to him. He's paying
I remember this
conversation.
Doesn't.
Eric doesn't talk to Spencer.
It's $80 a month for way more than what we're getting at the office.
Paying for commercial internet is such a scam. It's what we're paying here for the office is 3 times as much as I'm paying for my residential internet, and literally a third the speed less. So I'm third the speed less and paying 3 times as more than I have at home. It's so frustrating.
So I'm basically getting commercial quality support on my end, because I just call them up after there's an outage and say, this is going to be deducted retroactively from my bill, correct? And they say, oh, yes, sir, we can do that. And that's essentially what you're getting out of a business class deal.
Well, we don't even get that, I don't think. Because we were down for a day. One Saturday I came in and we were down. The whole area was down. But
You got to call them. Call them and say, well, it was down for a day. That's a 30th of my bill. You just knock it right off the top.
Ugh.
And they'll do it.
I would be fine if they didn't do it if they gave me the goddamn speed. We never call for support. We never call for support. I don't need your support. I need internet speed. Just hook the.
I constantly call for support.
Do you?
If I'm experiencing, I had packet loss. I've had intermittent connections, and yeah, I call up support and say, "Hey, I'm having this issue," and I've had them come out.
Here, let me send a ping signal to your router, and then all of a sudden it's like magically fixed.
Oh, no way. Packet loss, that's a real killer. That on Rocket League, that'll just kill you. You okay there, Eric? You okay?
I was having variable latency the other day. I'm like, what the hell is this variable latency? I mean, I get the concept, but why? And basically couldn't do my pre-show warm-up. Yeah, that's what we'll call it. I couldn't play Rocket League, and it turned out it was because I was. It
hurts, doesn't it?
I was in the middle of doing a backup, an offsite backup.
Oh, you got to turn quality of service on your router. That'll tunnel stuff appropriately for gaming.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I played with a friend of the show today.
Who did you play with?
Aardvark.
Aardvark?
Boy, he's got a different name on our Discord than on Steam.
Well, he might not want you to out him.
Well, no, he joined the official PHP Ugly.
There is no official PHP Ugly.
Wow, it's weird because he joined it.
There's no official PHP Ugly.
Eduardo RT.
Eduardo, really?
Yes, he is officially on the official PHP Ugly Rocket League team.
He's in our Discord?
Yeah.
He used to ping us all the time. I never hear from the guy. Eduardo, what have you been up to, man? Who is he in our... I don't see him in our Discord.
He's there twice. He's there under Eduardo RT and Fertile Armadillo.
Oh, you know what? I do remember seeing him post something because I remember his icon.
We knocked out a couple good games. Win some, lose some.
Basketball, was it NBA Live? Did you play that?
We didn't play the basketball mode. We played the 2-on-2 competitive.
Not sure what mode is. Basketball is not a mode. It's a game. That's fine.
That's been my preference lately too. 2v2 competitive.
It's a good warm up training. It's a good place to learn rotation.
Mm-hmm.
You guys fit right into the Laravel community. You know that game is huge with the Laravel elite, right? They all love it.
You know that game is huge in general.
No, I think the last time I looked at stats, I think there were like 60 or 70 people playing worldwide. So it's all
close.
fake news. It's fake news. It's all marketing. They're trying to make you think that it's bigger than it actually is. I saw a commercial for it. It's all pixelated. It's not very good.
Well, yeah, there are pixels in it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I blame whoever they have stolen from another company. I blame their poaching practices, to be more specific.
Oh, that was so long ago at this point.
I will not let shit go.
Not to Eric. Not even remotely.
Won't let it go.
You guys,
I poach from you.
You guys excited about 5G phones coming out?
Why would we care about this?
You think that's anywhere near Close.
Well, AT&T likes to think so because they've started updating the firmwares on Samsung phones to say 5GE instead of 4G.
4G. It was about that time, it's 2019. It's 2019. We can't still be doing 4G, right? I mean, let's up that to 5G.
Call it.
Sir, the network's
5GE.
the same. It doesn't matter. Just change the little icon. Everybody will be happy.
Turns out nobody's happy about that. This is a super shitty practice.
Yeah, all marketing at that point. That's stupid.
Well, even 4G and 3G were a lot of marketing and not a lot of real technology. But because of how significantly different the 5G technology is, this is just super egregious. I mean, the 5G antennas have a really short range, but they're small. So like it's something that you could install in a mall or like in a neighborhood, but doing a national rollout for it is going to take a long, long time. One of the technologies I saw recently was talking about these 5G hotspots inside manholes because the sewer system provides a natural route for cabling, for fiber cabling. So there's these models that fit right under a manhole, and you can just do every manhole on the street, and that gives you coverage for the city. But to say that a phone supports 5G when it fundamentally doesn't is just outright lying.
Yeah. Although I did see recently that I guess that it's around, right? I just don't know how widespread it is. I saw somebody with a robot able to control the robot wirelessly over 5G, where they are wearing like a VR headset and they have all the connections on their body, and then as they're moving the robot with them. Thought it was really
so
cool.
it's a very high bandwidth, but it's a short wavelength, so it's not going to go through a whole lot. It's not going to get a very big distance out of it. But yeah, the bandwidth is gigantic for it. And that's really what we want, but it means short hops.
Right. Well, it's what we want, but that's all we see. Like, we assume they're going to add coverage by adding more pieces around the city. And then we're going to be mad when we hit one dead spot.
Damn it, my phone went down 4G. I can't even work now.
Well, the interesting thing is that because of how you have to cover things at shorter distances, the dead spots that we're used to, like tunnels, would actually have to be covered. So coverage might actually improve over time.
Why would they have to be?
I mean that's always the promise, right? I mean that was the promise with 4G. And it wasn't wrong, but I mean, yeah, over time, of course, it's going to improve. It's not going to get worse. It's like, yeah, we're going to put 4 antennas out, and it'll get better over time.
Why would AT&T's quality just start to get worse? That's crazy talk.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's going to auto-negotiate back down to 4G, like you said.
Do you guys use?
So how do you think it's going to get better?
Because they'll have to just to put it out in a grid format, and so omitting one area of the grid is not going to be cost saving in comparison to a full size antenna deployment that would need to be there for 4G. But I'm curious about the data only. I was thinking about, do I need a phone anymore?
That's the big question. I rarely use my phone as a phone anymore. I just don't. I mean, people call me on it, and occasionally, I mean, 9 times out of 10, it's spam. It's telemarketers, but I almost never use it as a phone anymore.
But I got 10 spam calls in one day.
It's data only anyway.
That's true too. It's already data only. Yeah.
But what's the point of a phone number now? I mean, it's just so you can be called from a landline.
Yeah, I mean that's basically it. And I mean I don't want Walmart knowing when I'm online either. So I'd rather
Got some super bad news for you.
But yeah, I mean, but you're right. I think it's not going to happen anytime. Probably not within my lifetime. But you'll see the traditional phone number go away. We don't have a landline at our house anymore. My parents thought I was crazy when I told them that years ago. We haven't had it for years.
Yeah.
And they're like, what are you going to do in case of an emergency? I'm like, every person in the house has a cell phone. It's
My kids have never lived in a house with a landline.
Yeah. So you don't have a landline either, huh?
No, why would I?
Yeah.
What's
I want
crazy?
my wall to start ringing at me.
What's crazy is I pay for a landline. My bundle pack from my cable internet provider makes it cheaper to include a landline than not to include a landline for whatever
resell it to your neighbor
reason. I just don't know. I tell them, I'm like, but I'm not going to use it. Like they're like, well, you don't have to use it. It just reduces your bill by this 20% or whatever, or 10%. And I'm like, but why? And it's so weird because the equipment they use hooks right into the cable. Like the same line that's providing your cable internet and that's providing your cable television is the line that they hook into the phone. I'm like,
it's because after they want you to stay on and forget about it, and then after your promotion ends, now you're going to be paying for it and not using it.
Yeah, and they can go to Congress because don't forget that landline telephones, are a Schedule II commodity. They have to be provided. So when AT&T says we're still providing landline telephones to 200 million people, then they get money from the government to maintain that connection.
I didn't even think about that. I bet you that's what it is. I bet you I bet you you're right, Thomas.
So you're just patting their pocketbooks with your tax money. I saw a horrifying thing. I wasn't going to cover this because I think the coverage of it so far has been bizarro world. But Jeff Bezos is getting a divorce.
Mm-hmm. Saw that.
Very expensive divorce.
See, that's the thing that's been killing me. Who fucking cares? Like, every news outlet has been throwing their arms up in the air and saying, oh my God, Jeff Bezos is going to lose $76 billion in the most expensive divorce ever, and it's going to make her the richest woman in the world. And I'm like, if that's the case, A, the system has fundamentally failed. That when someone gets a divorce, they become the richest woman in the world. And B, who cares? That affects us zero.
Oh, that's all that Hollywood gossip news crap is like that. What Justin Bieber ate for breakfast in Miami last week gets nonstop coverage on half these news stations, and it's like,
just for those that want to know, it was avocado toast with a side of scrambled eggs
and bacon. He had bacon, John. He's not a vegan like you.
It was vegan bacon. I read the article.
Yeah, I mean, that's just people just like that stuff. I don't know.
But the most interesting point about the whole thing was a comment I saw on Reddit where someone said, oh yeah, there was an Enron exec who did this too. And someone was like, what do you mean did this? And it turns out that there was an Enron exec who essentially put off divorcing his wife until he had inside information on the value of their stock prices, and then initiated the divorce so that the court would force him to sell his shares in the company, and he couldn't be accused of insider trading because the court was forcing him to do it.
There's no way that it was that well thought through.
I will ask you, if Jeff Bezos sold off all of his stock in Amazon right now, what would happen to Amazon's value? it would be destroyed. Everyone would assume, what's going on? He knows something. Something is wrong. It would be a complete market crash. But if the court orders him to sell his stock, then the market will respond as if it were a court order and he had no choice in the matter. Not that it was a panic sale or an insider trading sale.
I'm going to tell you right now, if that conspiracy comes through, I will never question you ever again, Thomas. That is crazy enough to be true. If it happens, I will bow to your
throw out your microwave.
wisdom.
Is what you'll fucking do.
I will totally stop using a microwave.
You don't always have to believe me, but I swear to God, if the courts force Jeff Bezos to sell his stock, you have to get a new microwave.
Yeah, that no, and then Amazon has to like go out of business or something, right? It can't just be they're forcing him to sell stock. Something has to happen to cause the stock to plummet.
Well, no, because he can never cash out his stock.
That's what I'm saying is with Enron, it was done as a preemptive. What you're claiming is that it was done as a preemptive move because of the dismantling of Enron, right?
Right.
What I'm saying is some sort of similar consequence has to fall onto Amazon to
I will say
solidify your craziness.
The fact that the most recent entire season of South Park was about how Amazon has replaced the monarchy in American society is pretty sharply pointed.
Yeah, I don't understand how that applies, but okay.
There's a lot of issues with Amazon in their treatment of workers and their devaluation of goods and their marketing tactics. Amazon the store, not Amazon the services.
Mm-hmm.
I think the services are still very strong, but I think Amazon the store is going to be running into a lot of trouble with workers' rights soon.
And the same can be said about Walmart and Home Depot and all these big conglomerate sort of chain stores.
Walmart did this dance 20 years ago. Walmart got into the we're bad, but we have to make it look like we're good situation. But now with stories about people peeing in water bottles in the fulfillment centers.
Oh, don't.
They are.
Just. You need to stop.
The fulfillment centers are brutal. Like really, really brutal.
Oh my gosh. I can't tell you one of my mental challenges in life is thinking about what service people do to my food and stuff when I go to restaurants and especially these weird ones that don't sell meat. But it's like it's not only like the food, it's like the silverware, the cups, the plates. It's like, okay, do they
they pee on all of it.
These? Stop saying pee on stuff. Nobody pees on anything. No, they don't. Stop saying that.
You'll be much happier if you go into every restaurant assuming that it's been peed on.
Why would I be happier with that?
What is it exactly?
No, it's not a what if. You're not asking yourself, what if they did it? What if they did it? You just say they've been doing it forever. They'll continue doing it.
Oh my God.
What am I? If I didn't get sick before, I'm not going to get sick now. Maybe I've grown accustomed to the taste of pee. Maybe that's why I prefer Burger King over McDonald's. Who knows?
I can't even taste it anymore.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's like not knowing what your house smells like. You've just grown too accustomed to it.
You've got issues, man. You've got so many issues.
Yeah, I do.
All right. Where are we at on time? Are we good? Are we wrapping this up yet?
Yeah. We're an hour in. It's time to wrap it up.
But you've got a ticket here. I want to hear this.
Which one do you want to hear about?
Your .env.
Oh, that's I don't know. I mean, we can talk about it. .env. Yeah. So the whole, if you've done any development within recent years, you've learned the benefit of being able to leverage a .env file. It's not only in PHP, but it's in Docker, and I mean just about anything now that requires custom configurations. you can do a .env file, and I never even thought much about like what that standard was or anything like that. But apparently, there's one out there because the programming languages like know how to use it and stuff. And I guess the PHP.env file is getting an upgrade to its requirements, to its standards. And I don't know. The biggest thing that I saw is a .env file is about as simple as it comes. It's almost like a key value store, right? I mean, there's like you know, it's really simple. But I guess one of the bigger ones is now you can have like multi-line, values and things like that. But I don't know. I mean, I thought it was interesting, but I wasn't going to bring it up.
It's got a paths thing too. I'm interested in this because the multi-line stuff, there's a lot of breaking changes in this version, which is why it got a major version number. But yeah, the multi-line variables work now, but as an effect of that, spaces before and after your values get kept.
Right.
So you're going to have to start trimming your stuff to make sure that it works correctly, or
it doesn't even
break everything.
It doesn't even work now if you put a space in it before, right? I mean, and a space after is just ignored, but a space before your .env file will break, won't it? At least I haven't tested that recently, but I always thought that was the case with mine.
But it's not trimming it at all now. There's text before and after, I believe, still get interpreted. So a space before and a space after will break your old stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is directory support. You can say where to look for your .env file in different places now, which is going to be very nice for maintaining all of your env files in a single project. You can have a production folder for your env.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's like currently what I do is probably not best practices because of security reasons, but they're only test.env files. But for all my development work where I have test keys and things like that, I actually put my .env files in a folder on Dropbox and then link them back into the project. So because I work on multiple systems, I need to make sure that my .env files are staying current on all my systems, and .env doesn't get checked into, at least for me, I don't check it into GitHub. So the way I get around that is I have a folder in Dropbox. It hosts all my .env files, and then on my individual systems, I'll just do a link to those .env files.
So Thomas, why'd you have a big reaction to that?
Keeping on Dropbox? It reminds me of Basecamp. There was a really, really large hack, I want to say 3 years back, where a lot of confidential information was being kept on Basecamp. And people were able to socially engineer their way into somebody's Basecamp profile and from there get everything. I mean, I don't know if I like any way that env files are stored.
That says, yeah, I mean, that can be done with any project management system. I mean, we have teamwork. Somebody can socially engineer their way into one of our accounts as well.
The reaction was just from remembering that hack specifically. I don't think there is a good way to store env files.
Yeah, I mean, I've thought about it. And like you said, they're not production. They're not even test or staging level env files. They're strictly local development. So where they will have API keys on them, they're usually very restricted API keys for whatever I do locally. But yeah,
we have API keys that are local only. But if someone wanted to run the bill up on us, they could definitely hit the API key on purpose just to run our bill up.
Yeah, but you're going to have to store them somehow. And I've seen projects that put production env files into S3, and then on the build process, you pull them down. So just like, okay, if what was it, your example, not teamwork, but Basecamp that got hacked, but people could social engineer their way into Amazon, into your AWS account, or
Yeah, no, it's all unpleasant.
yeah. So it just you just have to make wise decisions.
Very much like peeing on your food, Thomas. If you just assume it's happening, it's just easier to deal with.
Yes, that's Eric just had a revelatory peek into my mind, which is that nothing is optimal, everything is broken. Now you don't have to take me seriously again.
All right, so since we're talking local development, let me go and kick this last story out there for all of our developer friends who might be interested in this. There's where you used to do local development. If you've done local development long enough, and especially if you've worked with third-party services, really with authentication mainly, you'll know that a lot of times they require valid certificates with whatever site they're dealing with. So if you're like doing an authentication through Google and it's going to send the authentication back to you, it needs to be HTTPS. It needs to be a valid HTTPS that it can send it back to, sort of thing. And now you actually have, and there were workarounds for this, right? Valet was a great example. Valet allowed you to create certs for your local sites that you're working on. But now there's MK-Cert, which allows you to create valid certs that are specific to your your machine. So it's a valid cert only on your machine, and you can basically create valid certs for anything, including localhost 127.0.0.1. Any certificate you need made, you can actually make a valid certificate for your local machine on.
But that does nothing for you outside, like Google accessing your machine. They're not going to be able to at that point.
No, they won't access it, but they'll send a request. They'll allow a request to be. So when you do a callback and you have to put in like a callback URL, like that URL has to be secure. It has to be an HTTPS URL.
But if they can hit it, you can already get a free certificate with Let's Encrypt.
They don't hit it. It just has to be their system hands that callback URL back off to the request. So they're not actually hitting it. They just hand it off to the request, because they can't hit any of, like, local development, like what we do with, your local sites. They can't hit any of that stuff. They just hand it back off as the request.
I just never understood why this was an issue.
It's just a nice to have. It's not necessarily an issue. Like I think you mentioned it.
New. I mean,
what do you mean it's not new? It's very new. I just posted the article.
It's not. You're an MCP.
Yeah,
Eric.
Yes.
So you did the certificates class, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could always generate certificate. It was a lengthy process to do it. You could always do it, but
it's more about the sign, whether the browser trusts it or not.
Well, yeah, but if you look at the link that Eric shared, the very first thing is an image that says the local CA is now installed in the Firefox Trust Store.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
always put your own.
Really,
CA
what it's doing is just it's a script to add a new parent certificate authority to your local system's trust store.
Right. I mean, like I said, this was always
like Microsoft must be pissed because like they focused so much attention on this. In Microsoft's world, this whole process was a thing that you were trained on how to do, and they made it easier and easier with every iteration of their system to run an intranet that ran HTTPS. Like
right.
They cared so much about this, and now someone writes like a 30-line script for Mac and Linux, and they're like, look at what I did. And Microsoft's like, fuck you. We did this for 20 years.
You used to have to do like you brought it up. You used to have to maintain your own certificate store and everything. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. But I mean, what they're doing here isn't
my question
mind-blowing.
is, when will we see the first hack that takes advantage of this, where somebody compromises a machine, creates a false certificate for their Google with a uppercase I instead of an L certificate for that local machine, and gets people.
If you can hack into a machine, then you could already do this. This is nothing new. If you look at the process that it's doing, it's literally generating a new certificate authority, adding the certificate authority to the system trust, adding the certificate authority to the Firefox Trust Store, the end. Now you can generate anything you want off of that CA. You can even do it offline. You could have a billion certs that are already signed by that CA, and as long as they're signed by that CA, anything propagating this trust store is going to move through. I mean, this just shows how good Microsoft has it, because their trust store is locked down solid. This makes it look like the Linux certificate trust stores are bad. Because it's blind.
Man, I was just trying to add a good story for the developers. Whatever. I don't care.
You know, it'd be better than to allow that to happen.
Wrap it up. All right. I think that's good. I'm done talking. I've done 2 podcasts today. I need a nap.
I have a very short.
We don't have a couch for you to nap on there.
I know. We need to get our couch into our office.
If you drink enough, any chair's a couch.
You like it, Thomas? It's a black leather couch.
Yeah, don't get that reference.
Yeah, I'm sure you don't. All right, I think that's it.
Oh no,
episode 136. What?
I'm John Congdon.
What, Thomas?
I was going to do a little bit of just a touch of doom and gloom, but with the government shutdown entering its 22nd day, I don't think we need another touch of doom and gloom.
You're willing to give us a pass on the doom and gloom?
20 days, 2 hours, 33 minutes, 56 seconds. God, it's just... If only we'd give that poor fake billionaire $5.5 billion.
Okay, can we wrap it up again?
Wrap it up again.
You've been listening to PHP Ugly, episode 136. I'm Eric Van Johnson.
I'm John Congdon.
I'm Tom Rideout.
Keep it ugly.
Keep it ugly.
Bunk, 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 bunk.
You need to. One of us needs to do some sort of hand signal to do that all together.
I always do a hand signal.
I should look at the screen.
Yes.
When we're wrapping up.
Say 3, 2, 1, go! All right.
That's not gonna be advertiser friendly.
Do you guys hear about the national emergency thing?
Yes.
I don't know.
What thing? The fact that he's saying he can do it? Yeah.
But what? Did you hear that? Did you hear it? Trump is saying he can declare a national emergency to build the wall. But do you know why he has to declare a national emergency to do it?
Oh my God, this guy is
to bypass Congress. Yeah.
No. Amazingly enough, there are national emergency funds that would unlock for it once he did that. Those funds were earmarked for recovery and prevention of hurricane damage in Texas. So if he did declare a national emergency, he would literally be taking money out of Houston's recovery money to build a wall in California. And there's nothing Texans love more than having their money taken and given to Californians. So I am super excited about the 0 options he now has.
Buttery Crumpets, if you're still listening, I'd be curious what other countries' opinions are of our leader. I really do wonder that.
I think we know him.
I mean, I feel like I do, but I don't know. Maybe I don't.
All right, 1 sec. Be right back.
No. Be right back. We can just wrap it up. We're good.
1 second. 1 second.
Just put a bottle under your desk.
I know. Just grab a Gatorade bottle like anybody else.
Pretend you're at an Amazon distribution center.
Act like you're at a restaurant or something. Just put some bread down there. He is not held in the highest regard in either England or Japan. That doesn't surprise me. He's not held in the highest regard here, if it helps.
No.
Unless you're one of my Facebook friends, then you think he's all that in the bag of chips.
Oh, yeah.
It's bag of Cheetos.
Yeah, there you go.
My doctor gave me a double take.
Yes, I did see that. I did see that. What did he give you a double take on?
He said he's do the hernia check. Gave me the whole, hey, yeah, hop on down, drop the pants and underwear. So I hopped down off the bench thing. I said, drop my pants, and then I looked at him and said, "Whole Monty, really?" And he goes, "Huh?" I said, "You underwear too?" He goes, "Yeah."
That's how it works.
All right. Well, I'm a civilized man of the 2000s. I don't just show my penis to anyone who I think wants to see it.
What's wrong with you?
Even when they ask, I make them ask twice.
My wife got it. Oh, stop your local recordings, by the way, if you haven't. Because I haven't.
We have both uploaded our files.
Yeah, I got to turn my Dropbox on because I turned it off because I was trying to be as proactive as I could to make sure everything worked correctly. So Rebecca bought a bunch of these Ancestry.com test kits for the family for Christmas so everybody can check out their ancestry.
So everyone can be linked to a murder?
Yeah, you know, they only want spit in those things. I found that out.
How long have you been sitting on that joke?
That part's not a joke.
Oh, that would make a funny joke, wouldn't it? No, yeah. Yeah, I told him, like, you know, with the first thing we have the twins, right? I'm like, why did you buy two? They're like they'll have the same lineage. I was like, you just wasted money there. I don't know. I'm a different person.
Well, with twins, there can still be a recessive versus non-recessive. Oh, God, I guess that can't be with identical twins, huh?
Well, that's the test I'm starting to think we're going to have to run is whether or not the girls are actually identical. Because, I mean, you look at them now, a lot of it's because their hairstyles are very different.
Yeah,
if you look at
no, they're
now,
identical though.
I don't know.
No, they are.
I think so, but yeah.
My twins are fraternal, and there is a definite like Arnold Schwarzenegger versus
Danny
DeVito situation going on. Like, it's real fucking clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, the really short one has type 1 diabetes.
Oh,
and his sister is like a good 3 feet taller than him. Like, that's you can see it. Oh yeah. Oh, and now she's starting to care about how she looks and realizing that it's just causing her trouble with her brother's friends.
All right, Discord. All our Discord people, if you're still here, we got 3 people still watching. We're going to go ahead and stop the stream now and wrap it up.
Thank you so much for listening. Thank you to all our Patreons.
Yes,
do we have any Patreon news?
Yes. Well, no new ones, no. But I of all the things of why I want to get OBS going is because of the thanks to our Patreon screen I splash up. I like that the most. So, all right, you guys take it easy. Ted,
send me
Buttery. Good. I'm listening.